The Shadow Whisperer. 12-year-old Liam had always been a quiet kid. Living in the small town of Oak Hollow, he spent most of his time alone, exploring the dense woods that surrounded his home. But Liam wasn't like the other kids. He had a secret, a strange, unexplainable ability to hear whispers from shadows. It started when he was 6. At first, the whispers were faint, like wind rustling through leaves. As he grew older, they became clearer, forming words, sentences, even warnings. Liam learned early on not to tell anyone. When he tried to confide in his mother, her face turned pale. "It's just your imagination, sweetheart," she had said, but the fear in her eyes told him she knew more than she let on.
One chilly October evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and shadows stretched long across the ground, Liam sat on his favorite rock in the woods. He loved the twilight hours when the whispers were loudest. But that evening, the shadows weren't murmuring their usual nonsense. They were urgent. Panicked, "Beware the hollow," they hissed. "He is coming." "Who?" Liam asked aloud. His voice trembled, though he didn't know why. "The collector," the shadows replied, their tones fragmented and chaotic. "He knows what you are." Liam's heart pounded. What did they mean? What was he? Before he could ask more, the whispers fell silent, leaving him alone with the creeping night. The next morning, Oak Hollow buzzed with unusual excitement. A stranger had arrived, claiming to be an archaeologist studying the town's ancient legends. He was tall and pale, with piercing green eyes that seemed to see through people. He called himself Dr. Gideon Thorne. Liam felt uneasy the moment he saw him. There was something cold and calculating in the man's gaze. But the townsfolk welcomed him with open arms, charmed by his wit and knowledge. That evening, Dr. Thorne hosted a town meeting to discuss his research. "Legend speaks of a child born in Oak Hollow every 100 years, Thorne began, his voice smooth and commanding. "A child with the ability to commune with the unseen, an ability that could either save or destroy us." His eyes scanned the crowd, lingering on Liam for just a second too long. "Such a child is said to be special." Liam's stomach knotted. The whispers had warned him, but he didn't understand why. That night, Liam couldn't sleep. Shadows danced on the walls of his room, whispering frantically. "Run!" they urged. "He knows." Liam jumped out of bed, heart racing. "What does he want?" He whispered, "The power, your power," the shadows replied. Liam had always thought his ability was a quirk, nothing more. But now, it seemed to be something far greater and far more dangerous. The next day, Liam decided to search for answers. He remembered a story his grandmother once told him about the old library on the edge of town. It was abandoned, but it held secrets about Oak Hollow's past. Liam snuck into the library that evening, flashlight in hand. The place was dusty and decrepit, its shelves sagging under the weight of ancient books. He combed through volumes of local legends until he found it, the Chronicles of Oak Hollow. One passage stood out, "The Shadow Whisperer, born once a century, is a bridge between realms. Their gift is coveted, for it holds the power to protect or to unleash chaos." Before Liam could read further, the air grew cold. He turned and found Dr. Thorne standing in the doorway, his green eyes glowing unnaturally. "I knew it was you," Thorne said, his voice dripping with menace. "You're the Whisperer." Liam froze, clutching the book to his chest. Thorne stepped closer, his shadow stretching unnaturally behind him. "You have something I need," Thorne continued. "The power to command shadows, to bend them to my will." Liam didn't wait to hear more. He bolted for the back door, Thorne's voice echoing behind him. You can't run from me, boy. Thorn's footsteps thundered behind him, but the shadows shielded Liam, tripping the man with roots and branches. Finally, Liam reached the heart of the woods, where an ancient stone circle stood, a place his grandmother called the Sanctuary of Shadows. Thorn appeared moments later, his face twisted with rage. You can't hide from me here, he snarled. The shadows belong to me now. But the shadows didn't obey. Instead, they gathered around Liam, their forms growing darker and more defined. He is not their master, a deep voice boomed. It came from the largest shadow, towering over the circle. You are unworthy. Thorn's confidence faltered. No. This power should be mine, he screamed, lunging at Liam. Instinctively, Liam raised his hands, and the shadows surged forward, creating a barrier. Thorn was thrown back, his body slamming against one of the stones. The shadows engulfed him, pulling him into their depths. His screams echoed briefly before fading into silence. The woods fell quiet. The shadows retreated, their whispers gentle once more. You are the whisperer, the large shadow said. Guardian of the balance. Use your gift wisely. Liam nodded, though he didn't fully understand his role. He felt a strange sense of peace, as if he had finally found his place in the world. When he returned to town, he told no one what had happened. The whispers had warned him that others might seek his power. From that day forward, Liam vowed to protect his secret, and to use his gift to keep Oak Hollow safe from the darkness that lurked beyond. Liam's life would never be the same. But he wasn't afraid anymore. He was the Shadow Whisperer, and he was ready for whatever came next.